Welcome back to Late Night. We're here with Rob McElhenney. Always Sunny, renewed to season 18. As you mentioned, Mythic Quest, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. You just bought a football team in England. I want to talk to you about that. But the biggest heat you have right now...
I bought a football team in North Wales.
North Wales.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for clarifying. Yes, I should have said Britain. I apologize. But this is your heat right now as you found a dog. I should say your wife and co-star Caitlin found a dog.
Yes. So I've got a couple of TV shows on the air right now, and we just announced another one yesterday. And all anybody wants to ask me about on Instagram or Twitter is about this dog.
It's a pretty good-looking dog.
It's a great-looking dog. Caitlin found this dog on the freeway in here in LA, and she miraculously and with a person that she met on the freeway saved this dog and eventually got the dog into the car, and she brought him home, and we fell in love with him. I mean, his paws were all ripped up because he had been running for 40 or 50 miles. They suggested because his paws were all torn apart, and so we had him all stitched up, and we were all ready to make him a member of our family. We named him. We even had a name for him because he has a giant head and tiny little legs. So we called him Frank Reynolds.
Okay, that makes sense. For
Yeah,
fans here, this is a very good Frank Reynolds photo right there. There you go. Yeah.
Well, that's a very DeVito pose, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. Because he tends to be shot down on.
Yeah. Well, sure. There's no other direction to go. So we were psyched. We had a dog, and I Instagrammed about it in a story, and we were pumped. I mean, we already have 2 other dogs, and so my kids fell in love with Frank Reynolds, and then I got a mysterious text from somebody who said, "I know the owner of that dog," and I said, "Who is this?" And she said, the person said, "I'm a pet detective." So now I knew, I knew someone was trolling me and I didn't know where this number came from or who it was. But I went along with the bit and I responded, and it turned out that no, this person had scoured the internet and found photos of a reward that was given of a reward page that was plastered all over this one neighborhood in Los Angeles and wasn't even online. Somehow she figured it out, found my information, found my phone number, my home address, and tracked us down and reunited the dog, who's apparently the dog's name was not Frank Reynolds. The dog's name was Chance. But she tracked us down, and I was like blown away. This is all over the course of 20 minutes. They said 20 minutes from the time I posted it. And I said, "How did you find me?" And she said, "Rob, I'm a pet detective. I can find anybody." And I was like, "Oh." I mean, I thought she was on the Mossad or something. So anyway, I did a deep cleanse of my information on the internet, but my guess is if she wants to, she'll find me again.
This sounds like, there's a sad element that you lost, Frank, but we should point out that, this is a happy ending that Chance, there's a video of Chance seeing his family again, which is very nice.
Yes. I mean, look how happy that dog is.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's a scam. I think that's not.
That is a happy dog. And of course, we were bummed that we missed out on Frank Reynolds. But we were so happy that he was returned.
We alluded to it. So this is a pretty awesome story. Wrexham, am I saying it right? That's the name of the Welsh club that you have purchased?
Yes, that's right.
So you and Ryan Reynolds bought a very low division, a sort of underperforming but historic football club. How did this come about? This was your idea?
Yes. Yeah. I just over the pandemic, I really got into football. I have to call it football now because if I call it soccer, I'm going to get stabbed.
Yep.
When I go to North Wales. So I just make sure I don't code switch. I don't come back to America and then start saying soccer because I really will. If I slip up, there'll be a beating involved.
Yeah, I think that's safe. That's smart.
Yeah. So it's very clearly football. And I just started getting into watching football and watching football documentaries. And I was not a big fan of it in the past, because it's just not a huge sport here in America. But I I got into it big time. And once I learned about how you could be promoted and relegated out of the league, that really piqued my interest because that's just so not a part of American sports. I mean, if so, there would be teams, at the bottom of the NFL every year that would be booted down to playing out of they would no longer be a part of the league. So I thought, well, if you can get relegated, you can also get promoted. So if you go far down enough and you can find a club that maybe I could afford, that maybe I could help that club to be promoted up into higher leagues. So that's what I did.
Has the fan base embraced the idea of you and Ryan so far?
They have thus far, yes. I mean, we've been very respectful and very careful about how we're approaching this. We recognize that we're an American and a Canadian. We're also Hollywood types. And I don't know if you noticed this, Seth, but a lot of people don't trust Hollywood types. I don't know why.
I don't know.
I don't know why. I don't know what agenda they believe we have. Maybe certain agendas that are espoused on your program. I don't.
Well, it should be noted that when you mentioned a third TV show, you're going to do a documentary about owning this club.
Yeah, so that was a key part of this. So I got really invested in a bunch of documentaries that I was watching over the pandemic, which I know a lot of people were as well. I got really into Chef's Table. I got really into Last Chance U, and I got really into Cheer. And it turns out that there's one company that makes all of those documentaries. And I reached out to them and I said, I love your shows. I'm going through this weird process. Would you consider documenting this? And they said, yes, this company's called Boardwalk. And they're going to document the entire process.
It's really exciting. I can't wait to see it. And congrats on everything. It's really nice to talk to you, buddy.
Thank you. You too, Seth.
I will see you soon. Mythic Quest is streaming now on Apple TV+. We'll be right back with more Late Night.